Hey guys, what's up? It's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new video. So today's video is all about finances and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so if you've never seen me before, like I said, my name is Amanda. I am a postpartum nurse. I work night shift. And I am on a debt-free journey. I started my journey last January and have paid off almost $40,000 of debt now. I recently paid off my car and now I am tackling my student loan, which is almost under 100,000. So exciting. But yeah, I do monthly budget videos over here and thought I would kind of open up on Instagram and have you guys ask me finance questions and stuff you want to learn. I recently did, sorry, my cat is very much distracting me. I recently did a how to budget video where I answered questions more specifically about budgeting, but these questions I'm going to answer today are all about just general finance questions. So okay, so I had you guys ask me questions on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, you should. So I just have a handful of questions that you guys asked me. First question is, if you're a student working summers and no credit score, how do you save for a car? Okay, well obviously like I'm not a financial guru, so I can't like tell you the thing that's gonna work. So I think your best option would be to, I mean, obviously work as much as you can. If you're not working during the school year, maybe find just like a part-time job to work during the school year to make a little extra money. Your best bet's gonna be to just buy a car that's not a super nice car, not a super like great car off the bat. If you buy like a cheaper car and you can pay full price for it, then you don't have to worry about a credit score. If you have any sort of student loan, you should have a credit score of some sort, so take that into consideration because I think you probably do. But yeah, my biggest advice would just be to save up your money and work extra to be able to afford that car. But a cheaper car is probably the better option for you. Second question, how did you know when it was the right time to spend for big things like apartments or cars? Well, I always had to pay for an apartment on campus besides my freshman year, and then other years I had a car in high school that was actually my mom's car that my parents just gave to me when my mom got a new car. So that's the car that I had until I had my current car, and I got my current car once I started working a full-time job and graduated from college. My old car was also kind of going real downhill there, so I needed something different. Looking back on it, I could have probably gotten a cheaper car, but I was able to pay it off anyway, so it all kind of works out. But yeah, my biggest thing would be just knowing that you will have a way to pay for it and a way to afford it. That's kind of how you'll know if you're able to buy those big ticket items. And I mean, an apartment, you're gonna pay to live pretty much wherever you live unless you live at home with your parents. So okay, so the next question is, how do you stay on budget? I find myself spending more since I know I'm making more. So you guys will see when my next budget comes out, but for February I definitely went over budget. I'm usually pretty good at sticking to my budget. I think a lot of it just has to kind of do with like my own like self-discipline, I guess. I know that there's a bigger picture and I have bigger goals with money that I want to be able to accomplish, like getting a house and not having any debt, that staying on budget is for me like one of the only ways that I can do that, and that's like possibly a thing. So I think that's kind of what helps me, is just knowing that like, hey, I have to stick to this. And like when I do go over budget, it's like I went over budget this month and you'll see it, and it's like I knew I had taxes coming in and that I actually picked up an extra shift that I didn't originally budget for. So in my mind, I had extra room to pay for those things. But one thing that helps, I think, is just continuing to budget and doing it every month, and you can always move and tweak your budget to account for things that you need to pay for. And things that you want to pay for. So like if I know next month I'm going to go shopping for clothes, like I might put a little extra in my miscellaneous and then put less towards my loans, if that makes sense. So I think the biggest thing is just practicing and having some self-discipline and like bigger goals on why you are budgeting in the first place and what your goals are for money long term. Next question, how do you not impulse buy? Well, usually I'm really good about not impulse buying. I talked about this in my budget video, but usually if there's something that I want to purchase online, I will like add it to my cart the day of, and then I won't buy it that day. I'll go back the next day and double check, like, are these things that I really need and really want? And in one of my last vlogs, I actually ordered a few clothing items off Amazon, and it's something that made me go over budget for the month, but it was something that I sat on for a few days and was like, you know what, no, these are things that I could really use. And although I didn't technically have room in my budget, I did have the money to account for it. So if you have a mental note in your head like, okay, I like these things, but I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to buy them, and then you don't have that like split, like, ooh, feel good online shopping, you know. Also, I feel like for me personally, COVID has really helped. I'm not a big online shopper as it is, because I just, with the way my body type is, it's really hard for me to find clothes that fit me right and that I like the way they look on me. Just buying them online, I really like to try them on in the store, and I haven't really gone shopping in stores because of COVID, so it's helped me kind of learn priorities at the same time. Next question, tips for budgeting with a partner, one or multiple bank accounts. So I've gone over this before, but I guess not this question exactly. So Alex and I are getting married in August. We moved in together in June of 2018, so we've almost lived together for 3 years. When we first moved in together, it was us and then a roommate, so everything we had was split 3 ways. So during that time, me and Alex just like, we each paid for our own groceries, we each paid for our chunk of rent, we each paid for whatever. Are you okay? We each paid for our own rent and all that stuff. And then once our roommate moved out, we got a combined checking account and savings account, and that's where all of our bills come out from. So we each put $1,000 there a month, and that was just calculated by like our rent, our typical groceries, if we go out to eat, bills. That's pretty much all we put there. So we each put $1,000 there a month, and that covers all of that stuff. And then that's something that I kind of keep track of on the side. And then I have my own bank account where all of my money goes from work and where I do all of my budgeting. And then Alex is currently still in school, so he does not have as big of an income as I do. So he kind of just does his own thing over here, and I do my thing over here. And then we have like our one account that is pretty steady and doesn't need much budgeting to be done with it. But once we get married, we are going to be combining everything, because Alex will have a full-time job then, and I am probably still going to be the one who's like in charge of budgeting. But my biggest like piece of advice is like with finances and a significant other is to just be super open and honest in your communication, and money should never be like a secretive thing, and especially in a relationship that's like marriage, you know, like at the beginning of a relationship, sure, yeah, and up until like you get engaged and stuff, it can be like semi like secretive, because like obviously like if you're a millionaire, you don't want someone to marry you for your money. But once you're married to someone, I feel like it's super important to be open and honest with communication about money and what your guys' priorities are and goals are with money and long-term things with money. So definitely, especially if you're living with the person, having a combined checking account. I would wait to have a combined account until you are like engaged or married. Keep your finances separate until then, because you never know what could happen. But yeah, hopefully that helps answer your question. Next question is, do I use credit cards to pay for budgeted expenses? So back when I was in college or nursing school, I did, and I do technically still have it, I have a credit card that for a few years I was just using to pay for gas, to just kind of increase my credit score. And then once I started following Dave Ramsey, I stopped using it. I was literally just using it on gas, and it really wasn't like affecting my score that much because I also had my student loan payments and my car payments, which I was paying on time and monthly. That was boosting my credit score as well. So I don't use my credit card anymore. I don't feel the need to. Maybe in the future, if I find like a super cool one that has like points and stuff like that, I might use one again. I don't feel the need to. My credit score is great. Next question is, do you still follow Dave Ramsey? Yes and no. I feel like my like money beliefs and everything have changed even from last year when I started all this. When I started all this, I was like, Dave Ramsey is the only way to do things. And now that I've kind of gone through a year of it and started thinking about other things in my life, his ideals and ideas for paying off all your debt as quickly as you can and like living below your means, I think is very important. But I think his like all or nothing mentality about it is incorrect. Because I feel like people like to spend money. At the end of the day, people are going to spend their money. It's kind of like a diet. If you like restrict yourself and restrict yourself and restrict yourself from spending money on things that you want to do, you eventually are going to like binge and like go crazy and do way more than you ever would, if that makes sense. So I think it's important that people are financially aware of their finances, and budgeting is great, and trying to pay off your debt and doing a debt snowball type thing is awesome. And I'm so glad that like I found him, and that's kind of where I got my journey started. But that's about all that I like follow of his. According to his plan, me and Alex should not be thinking about saving money for a down payment on a house for probably like 2 or 3 years. But we are saving for a down payment. And it's just, yeah, I don't believe that like completely cutting yourself off from spending money on anything, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. There's no way I could ever have a $0 miscellaneous category for the month. It's just not the way my mind works. And honestly, if that's what I was like, if I was like, okay, let's do like a no spend challenge, I would probably spend a ton of money right before and a ton of money right after, that it wouldn't even matter. Like it really wouldn't have made a difference. I also believe that he is very one-minded on the way that he thinks things should be, and if you don't do it his way, you're wrong. And I think that that's very false. I think there's a lot of amazing other people, financial smart people out there. There is one girl on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, I think her name is like her first 100K, and she very much preaches like financial independence, but also like you can go buy coffee if you want to. I think a small part of him is really great, and obviously I love the Every Dollar app. I could probably try another one, but I just love the way that it works on my phone and my life and whatever. But at the end of the day, I think making your own decisions and not necessarily following what everything that someone else tells you to do. The next question is, what is a good amount to have left over after everything is paid between paychecks? That's gonna depend on like how much you make and how much everything is. I can't really give you a specific number because it's gonna depend on where you live and what things you're paying for and how much you spend on things. So I mean, ideally you should have some money left over after everything is paid for. That's all I can really say though, because I don't know how much you make. I don't know if you make $2,000 a month or if you make $4,000 a month. Like there's a big difference between the two of those things. Next question, have you ever done a no spend month or challenge? I have not, and I probably will not do that. I will say that because I'm already over budget on miscellaneous stuff for February, I'm not buying anything for the rest of the month, so I guess that kind of counts. But it's just because I literally can't, not because I'm like not spending money. I definitely have had months where I try to spend less, but I don't think it's possible for me personally to have a no spend month. I just don't think it's, kind of what I was saying before. Like, I don't think it's a feasible thing for me. How do you balance guilt of going over budget and with knowing that it just happens sometimes? Exactly, it does just happen sometimes. I think there's another month a few months ago where I went over budget for the month, and I went over budget this month, and it happens. Like, we're human, we make mistakes, we spend too much money at Target. It happens. It's not the end of the world. If you should always have like a little cushion in your bank account if that happens. Like, you should never go below 0. You know what I mean? Like, if you are spending so much and going over budget every month, maybe it's time to just rethink your budget and crunch out the numbers and find something that works better for you. But I think it's just, it happens and people make mistakes, and I don't even feel like guilty about going over budget this month. Like, it sucks, but like, I'm still able to make my payments, and I guess knowing that I have more money coming in and I'll just do better next month, like that's all you can do. And then the last question is, can you talk a little bit about credit cards, paying them off, and credit scores? So I'm not a financial expert. I don't know a ton about credit scores and all that stuff, but I'll take Alex for example. Alex has no student debt, 0. He has never had a car loan. So a few months ago when we started talking about saving up for a house and a down payment, I was just doing some research and I found out that they actually check both people's credit scores. So I mean, I have a decent credit score. I think I'm like 750 something. And Alex doesn't have a credit score because he has never taken out a loan for anything. So we actually did sign him up for a credit score or credit card to use on like gas, and I think he was gonna like set up his phone bill for it and stuff like that, so that like we just have a reoccurring payment every month that he would pay off, and it would just be something to have some sort of credit score. The really unfortunate thing about the whole credit system is it's kind of just super dumb and backwards, and it's like I just saw a like shirtless man running across the parking lot across from me, and he went into an apartment building, but it's like 0 degrees outside. Weird. That was weird. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, credit cards and credit scores are just kind of dumb. Like, a credit score is like, hey, we know that you have taken money from someone and paid them back, so because you have done that and you've done it on time, we'll let you borrow money from us, which makes sense. But someone who has never had to borrow money before because they don't need to, has a, like, it's just so backwards, you know? Like, I think if you are planning on getting a credit card, the biggest thing I would say is just use it on things that you pay for monthly, and always pay your total amount, because if you don't, you have interest, and I never had any interest on my credit cards because I would literally just use it for gas. But I would say only use it on things that you know you can pay off, and there definitely can be super great, and there are some financial people who think credit cards are like an amazing tool to use for financial success, and some people like Dave Ramsey who say, heck no, never have a credit card. So I think do your research. Sorry, I'm still distracted by whatever happened earlier. But like, do your research and figure out what's gonna work best for you. Like, a credit card, if you're gonna have a credit card, it should not be something that makes you go like in debt. Like, technically you're going in debt, but like, you should not have $3,000 of credit card debt unless you just paid it for the last month and you're gonna pay it back in a month. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I think they can be a great tool. I think that people can use them incorrectly and it becomes a huge issue for them. That is all the questions that you guys had for me. If you ever have any other random questions about finances, follow me on Instagram and feel free to DM me and ask me those there. I will reiterate, I am not a financial guru. I will just tell you what my opinion is. There is no like evidence to back up anything that I'm saying. It's just like a personal opinion and beliefs and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any other fun finance videos coming out. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment below what is something that you are saving for in the future. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.